Welcome to Onslow County today. I'm your host, Lisa Whitman-Grice, and you can see we've had a little bit of a change of venue and a little bit of a change of scenery. Welcome to our new set for this year. We are so glad that you're here, and we're so glad to welcome our very special guest for this inaugural show. We'll be talking with Chris White with the Onslow County Albert J. Ellis Airport. We'll also be speaking with Lisa Ryder with the Onslow County Earthen Surf Festival. We'll get some great advice from Dr. Diana Rashash and Rebecca Ingram about landscaping for energy conservation. And finally, we'll speak with Karen Moore from the Onslow County Public Library. Again, we're so glad you're here, and welcome to Onslow County today. Welcome to Onslow County today. I'm your host, Lisa Whitman-Grice, and joining us now is Chris White with the Onslow County Albert J. Ellis Airport. Chris, we're so glad to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now, Chris, you have visited with us many times, and we have all been anxiously anticipating your big project that you have been working on for the last few years. Why don't you tell us about your terminal redevelopment project?
The airport has undertaken a very broad airport redevelopment program. We are building a new passenger terminal building, 67,000 square feet. And we've also taken on a new general aviation or executive terminal building as well at the same time.
Now, for the last couple of years, we've been looking at plans, and you've had and worked with the community to have this grand vision for this redevelopment program. How's it looking? How are you feeling as your vision is really coming to fruition?
Well, we like to think of it as the community's vision.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. It's really coming around and looking very nice. The building was designed with the passenger in mind to make it easy. So it's familiar to people who travel frequently, but it also doesn't look like every other airport out there.
I love how you said the community's vision, because you really did embark on a great outreach effort. Talk a little bit about, if you will, that community input and how you gauge that.
Well, we did surveys, passenger surveys, asked them what they wanted to see in the new facility. We also engaged a group of business travelers, leisure travelers, and other members of the community, including tourism, to see how they envisioned the airport and what was important to them, to make sure we provided all the amenities that the local customers would like.
And I know you also really wanted it to reflect Onslow County. Share with us about how you have created, as you said, you didn't want it to look like every other airport out there.
Well, we refer to the design as coastal contemporary. It is not modern, but it is contemporary by nature. The colors are all very comfortable and very familiar in this area. There's a little bit of the Marine Corps and the federal construction style with the red brick on the building, but also it's got a very arching, sweeping roof line that's familiar with the ocean and the sky. It also has lots of nice greens and blues in the building, so you have a little bit of color, but it's not over the top. The floor tile actually looks like sand.
Oh, what a wonderful way to welcome people to Onslow County as they disembark from their flights, and you welcome them into Onslow County fully.
Well, you bring up a point about disembarking. The airport is adding passenger boarding bridges for the first time in a long time. We haven't seen those out here in about 15 years. And the passengers will get an opportunity to deplane and enplane through a covered, conditioned jet bridge, so no more walking in the rain.
So no more making a run for it.
That's right.
No more, or grab your bags and let's go. Well, what a great way, again, to make people feel welcome, to make people feel comfortable. I know that construction will continue throughout the summer, and you don't have a definitive date for grand opening, so to speak, but you do have an idea about some of the things that you're planning when that day gets here.
That is correct. It's going to be an overnight move, so it's going to be quite a challenge for us. One night we'll move, probably on a Saturday night, and we will move a lot of equipment, a lot of personnel and airplanes that night. Prior to that, we will have an open house and let the public come out and see their new terminal building. We'll do that before we secure the facility so we can take people and show them the inner workings. It's not like an office building. We have conveyor belt systems, and we've actually got the first escalators in Onslow County.
What a terrific, I know that when our kids were little, escalators are like magical. So you get the very first one.
That's right. We have the first two.
The first two. Now, as all of this construction has been going on, what's been some of the feedback, both from your passengers, the community, and your partners at the airport, your vendors and your other users? Everyone's
very excited. We're taking this opportunity to upgrade the services that are provided at the airport as well. We will eventually have a new food and beverage. It may not be there on the day we open, but we'll have a new restaurant. And we're providing services on both sides of the security checkpoint. We will have new advertising in the facility. The rental car companies are upgrading their services. And we will have a few special amenities for the Marine Corps as they come into the building. All the Marines, for example, we have changing rooms in there and a special waiting area. We have information desks as well as baggage service offices. A lot of those amenities are new to this airport, new services.
We are just so, you can kind of feel the energy, and people are getting excited and looking forward to these big changes.
Absolutely. People have been very excited about this for a number of years. It's about 5 years in the making so far, and we've had great partnerships with the NCDOT, the FAA, Onslow County, the state of North Carolina, and several divisions of the state. The city of Jacksonville has been very helpful. A lot of partners on this program.
Now, I know the one thing that won't change, because I've admired this about you and your staff for so many years, is you see a tremendous passenger usage every day, but you have maintained the most warm and welcoming team of professionals I can imagine. Talk a little bit about your staff and their reaction.
Well, we view the whole airport as one of the most friendly airports around, and we get a lot of feedback that supports that. We work with the airlines, we do customer service training and so forth for the rental car companies. Our staff, they're a little apprehensive, especially the housekeeping. Right. It's a lot more square footage, but everyone keeps a very positive and friendly demeanor as we do that. The TSA, for example, they make a lot of efforts to take care of the customers as well, to explain to them what they need to do when they travel.
Well, it shows. It definitely shows. And that brings me to a great transition point, if you will, a great segue, which is people are still traveling and still using the airport every day, and especially in the summertime. I know you always have some helpful hints for your travelers.
Well, yes, we've gone through a lot of great pains to make sure that this is a painless process for passengers. They get to see the construction, but they don't have to live with it or experience it. When you travel during the summer, it's a good time. That way, then you can pack a little lighter. We always suggest that people think about where they're going, that they pack smart, and we have a lot of information on our website at flyOAJ.com. Mm-hmm. And also on the TSA's website, they have very good information. That's tsa.gov. And they share information on, for example, the liquids rules, the 3-1-1 rule, which means no greater than 3.4 ounces. Each passenger is allowed one quart size bag full of those liquids. We also have something here called pre-check. Pre-check allows people to expedite their screening, and that's usually associated with military personnel, active duty personnel, and so forth, and then also seniors and young children, so over 75 and under 12. They don't have to go through the full screening process. They're still screened, but at a little bit easier level. Passengers are also suggested to arrive at the airport an hour before their flight. The airlines stop checking people in. It's required by federal law. They stop checking in 30 minutes before the flight. So give yourself a little extra time. It'll reduce the stress, make it a little bit more enjoyable experience.
So good pre-planning. Check out your website, absolutely. And then get ready for a wonderful summer vacation.
That's right. Book early, book often.
There you go. Well, Chris, as always, we thank you for coming to share this with us and provide us this update. And I'm looking forward to visiting with you a little bit later this year so that we will have a chance to get that preview that you're talking about.
That's right. Well, we'll have the open house, but you all are more than welcome anytime.
Thanks so much. Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is one of our favorite guests, Lisa Ryder with Onslow County Solid Waste and Keep Onslow Beautiful, to talk about the award-winning Earthen Surf Festival. Lisa, we are so glad that you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, every year you have this wonderful festival on the first Saturday in July, and that is the award-winning Earthen Surf Festival. For folks who may not be familiar with it, let's first kind of introduce the mission of the festival, and then we're talking about the real details of the day. So first and foremost, what is Earthen Surf Festival?
Well, the Earthen Surf Festival is an environmental awareness event, but we also like to pack in a lot of fun activities so that you're learning about the environment and ways that you can protect the environment while you're having fun.
And you really do embrace the idea of education and environmental stewardship and really activism throughout the whole day. Talk about where this kind of came from, how Earthen Surf had its origins.
Well, it started over 9 years ago. So this is our 9th year for the Earthen Surf Fest, but it actually started a couple of years prior, and we wanted to create a festival or a fair or some type of event that we can gather people together and teach them about different things that are going on in our community environment, whether it's stormwater pollution prevention, picking up litter on the beach, preventing marine debris, or just how to have clean air in the environment. So the Earthen Surf Fest came about because I had some folks that were interested in putting on a surf contest, and I thought, well, that would be a great way to teach folks about clean water. No one wants to get out and surf at the beach if the water is bad. And a couple of years later, we decided to add a 5K run, because who can run out at the beach if there's not clean air? So we're tying in all of these activities with also some environmental education.
And this year you have scheduled Earthen Surf Fest for a very special day. The first Saturday in July just happens to be
on July 4th.
So it's a celebration day for everyone. We know there will be lots of people out and about. So what a great day to have a festival.
Absolutely.
Now, Earthen Surf Fest is held at what location? We know you're at the beach, but let's give some very good directions.
So it's in North Topsail Beach. It's actually at Onslow County's Public Beach Acts number 2. Okay. So if you go to our website, you'll actually be able to find a map and detailed directions with the information on how to find the location.
Okay, so at Public Beach Access number 2, and it starts at what time?
It's sun up to sundown. So we're there setting up as early as 5 a.m. and folks start arriving about 7 a.m. And if you check our website for the schedule, you'll see all the information about the 5K run. Folks can register early, which I highly recommend because that sometimes can fill up before the day of. Also the surf contest, you can register there, and you can register for the beach cleanup on the beach and also the free yoga session on the beach as well.
It's a full day. I've already heard you mention yoga and a beach cleanup and surf competition, 5K run, and then you've got a few other things scheduled as well.
Yes, so the Plastic Ocean Project is helping us out this year by hosting our beach cleanup. So everybody can come out and participate in the beach cleanup for free, and you win prizes such as our Earthen Surf Fest t-shirts. Also, we have a 5K run that goes on in the morning and usually wraps up around noon. The surf contest lasts all day long. There's several different parts of that, so it's for all ages. There's also a stand-up paddleboard contest in conjunction with that surf contest. And also on the, this access is really special because we have beach access and sound access. So on the sound side, we are doing free stand-up paddleboard demonstrations through the Surf City Paddle Club, and also free canoe and kayak demonstrations through the New River Foundation.
Anybody who has visited Onslow County or grew up on our waterways knows what a big deal surfing is, but really the stand-up paddleboarding we've seen take off in the last few years, haven't we?
It's really taking off. It's a sport that you can enjoy on the surf side or the sound side, and I've really enjoyed taking my paddleboard out and doing cleanups. So doing paddleboard cleanups is really fun. You can find all kinds of interesting stuff out there on a paddleboard or a kayak that you would never see or be able to collect on a boat.
When folks come out that day and they want to participate, you mentioned pre-registering, but talk a little bit about some of the booths that you'll have available as well, just if they want to come down for the day to enjoy the festival.
So there will be several environmental education booths. So I mentioned marine debris, so there will be information about marine debris prevention and removal. We'll also have some other information about other different environmental things in the community. And we also welcome any environmental organization that's here locally that wants to participate to come out and spread the word about some of the efforts that they're doing as well.
You've got great public information. You've got great activities, and this is a festival like no other I've seen that really practices what it preaches in terms of what you do, because this is, as I understand, a zero waste event?
Yes, so we try to be as close to 100% zero waste as we can. We can't prevent what people bring to the beach and whether or not it is going to be recyclable or compostable. But we do provide recycle receptacles, composting receptacles, and all of the products that are used at the site, whether they're vendors or sponsors that bring products to give away, they're all either recyclable or compostable.
This is a wonderful event. Now, I mentioned that it is an award-winning event because you have really been lauded for your efforts with this activity.
We've won several local and statewide awards for our efforts, especially being a waste-free, and we also, the energy that is used to provide the PA systems for our live music and for our surf contest, it's all solar powered. So, everything, we try to be, completely waste-free in that regard as well.
What a great model for our community. You and I have spoken many, many times because Onslow County's economy, a significant part is tourism. And so you're really drawing people to our beautiful beaches and keeping them that way.
Right, so we like to also teach, the connection between the pristine, healthy ecology here and also the local economy, because there's a huge connection between both of those.
Well, for last things, we want to make sure that everybody knows how to reach you. So one more time, let's give everybody your website.
Our website is www.earthandsurffest.com, all spelled out. And they can also call anytime, either before or on the day of, to reach me for information, and that's 910-330-3140.
Lisa Ryder, it is always a pleasure talking with you, and good luck with this year's festival.
Thanks, Lisa.
Welcome back to Onslow County today. Summertime and the living is easy, but it is hot. So we have some very special guests joining us today to talk about things we can do in our yards and at our own homes to make things a little more comfortable. We have Dr. Diana Rashash joining us from Onslow County Cooperative Extension. Dr. Diana, always welcome. Glad to see you.
Thank you. Enjoy being here.
And you have brought a very special volunteer. Please introduce your guest.
Today I've brought Ms. Rebecca Ingram. She is one of our Master Gardener volunteers and a wonderful asset to have available for the community.
Well,
Thank you.
Rebecca, it's so good to see you. I see you when I get to visit out at Cooperative Extension and out at the farmers market. So I'm glad to have you join us for Onslow County today.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
We mentioned that Eastern North Carolina is hot, and it stays hot. This is not a short summer season that we have. And so you all have brought with you today some ideas for our viewers about things that they can do at their own homes. And the first thing we want to talk about is just how hot can it be, Dr. Diana? We talk a lot about climate and weather when you and I are together. So Onslow County summers, pretty intense?
It does. We have that standing weather forecast of hot, hazy, humid, and chance of afternoon thunderstorms. So we definitely do get quite hot here, and that's why shade is so important, and landscaping for energy conservation, and just plain to make it more bearable in your yard. We frequently talk about, at my house anyway,
turn that thermostat, because it is intense, especially, high noon to about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But we always want to be more mindful of our energy usage. And you have some great tips. So we're going to just kick off there. What can we do?
Yes, ma'am. Well, you can come by Cooperative Extension. We have information on plants, trees that can be used in the yard, and that's what Rebecca will be discussing. But I'm going to be talking about the why, why it's so important. During the summer, that sun is up higher in the sky. During the wintertime, it's much lower down. How your home is oriented, is it facing down to the south? What vegetation do you have on the eastern and western sides of your house? Western shade is extremely important because that late afternoon sun really heats up that house. Your heat pump needs shade. If it's out in the open in the sun all day long, the air around it is very warm, and it makes it a lot harder for the heat pump to try to get any cool air out of it to try to cool your house down.
And the harder it works, the more that little dial goes around and the more energy you're burning.
It sure does. The importance of shade, I actually have a little demonstration.
I love this, great.
Just a couple little plastic bottles, a couple of them were spray painted black, and we did that as a quick demonstration of just how much impact shade has. I had these 4 bottles set up at an Earth Day event several years ago. 2 were in the shade, light and dark. 2 were right next to them with just a little barrier in between that represented our shade, and the other 2 were in the sun. And the 2 that were in the shade, the color did not make a difference. The temperature went up about 5 degrees during the course of the day and then down 5 degrees. These 2, however, were a big difference in the sun. The clear bottle got about 10 degrees warmer than the 2 that were in the shade, and the black bottle got about 15 degrees warmer. And there's only 2 feet of space separating the sets of bottles. So that shade had a 10 to 15 degree temperature difference. If you're out working in your yard, you appreciate that shade, and if your heat pump's out back there, it appreciates the shade a whole lot too.
And 10 to 15 degrees is a tremendous difference. We all know the difference between a beautiful 80-degree day
and a
95-degree day.
It's a big difference.
Now, the other thing, of course, when we think about summertime, and you gave the perfect forecast, hot, humid, hazy, chance of afternoon showers.
Yes.
Sometimes also comes with the threat
one of those
tropical,
named, yes, one of those named critters that comes by.
One of those tropical events we sometimes are occasioned to have cross over Onslow County, and not to make light of it, but our decisions
on what to plant
is also impacted with that.
And a lot of people are afraid of trees for that reason. They're worried about them breaking, they're worried about them landing on their house. Not all trees are created equal, which is why Rebecca's here, because Extension has information on proper tree selection in hurricane-prone areas.
Well, with that, we're going to switch over to you, Miss Rebecca. And I am a tree fan. We plant a new tree every year. That's our goal on our property, is to have new trees all the time. I hope I'm making the right decisions. So help us understand what is a better choice, and what maybe do we want to shy away from when we're thinking about tree selection?
First, think native. Native trees for thousands of years have been holding up to those H storms. I try not to say the word.
Don't want to draw them in.
Yes. They've been holding up to those for hundreds and thousands of years. So if we think native, that's a good way to start. A live oak, which is a slow grower, will hold up the very best. Probably the worst performer we've seen is one that's been overused in our area, the Bradford pear tree.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of sentimental attachment to the Bradford pears, and I don't advocate cutting down a healthy one.
No.
But if we're looking for new trees, think native, think live oak, think bald cypress. Crepe myrtle, which is not a native, but they hold up extremely well in the storms. They've been here since colonial times. And there are some at Tryon Palace that are nearly that old.
Wow.
at that site. So if we think native, if we think tough trees, another issue is the way things are planted and pruned.
Okay, so that takes us to a whole nother area, and an area in which I know master gardeners are thrilled and so qualified to offer their expertise. What are some of the things you let people know about pruning their trees, or when to prune, how to prune, and not committing what we like to call crepe myrtle side? So talk a little bit about that.
Always cut out any dead wood. Not only is that better for the health of the tree, but those dead branches are a flying missile in a storm. And that's very likely to come through the roof of your house. So always pruning those out as you see them. I have neighbors who, when there's a forecast out there, 3 days before the storm, they're out cutting everything. It's much easier to keep up with things along the way. And then when it happens, all you have to do is bring your lawn furniture in.
There you
You're
go.
not out with the chainsaw trying to avoid the high winds on that day. But always prune out any dead wood. Look to thin branches so that the wind can come through instead of pushing the whole thing over. There are rules about crossing over branches,
Right.
which make things more of a target for the winds. But we have all that information. We're thrilled and happy to talk to people. Our discovery gardens behind our office has been planted with trees that are suitable for our area, and we take people out there to look at what's available, look at what will do well. We're very unique. We're not an arboretum or a botanical gardens. We're a demonstration garden, and that's one of the things we're very proud of. We take people back there and show them what they can use in their own yard.
Excellent, excellent. Excuse me for my cough there while you were speaking. So we're making the right choices, and we're reaching out to resources so that you all can give us that great best advice and even demonstrate for us what we should do. Dr. Diana, when people contact Cooperative Extension, who should they ask for? Who should they ask for, and how can you direct them to best use your resources?
Well, it depends on what their question is, and we
Okay.
get all kinds of questions since we cover everything from row crops and livestock to 4-H programs, and there's a lot of 4-H programs that are going to be going on in the next few weeks. As I deal with a lot of the water questions, aquatic invasive weeds, stormwater drainage, questions. And of course, there's always the master gardeners. When it comes to a lot of the lawn questions, what's going on out there with their grasses, questions about what might be wrong with their trees or their plants. We want to make sure people make the right choices because buying those plants costs them money.
Yes.
And making sure that they bought the right one so it does well in that location, which also gets back to the planting practices for the trees. A lot of times people put them in a straight line, and that makes them much more susceptible to just being blown over. We like to think of the triangle practice on how to plant them so that no matter which direction the wind is coming from, it's able to support or be supported by other trees nearby it. And that can even make a moderate wind-resistant tree act more like a high wind resistant tree when it has neighbors helping to support it. Whereas a high wind resistant tree planted all by its lonesome out in the middle of a field, it has nothing helping to support it, and it has to face all those winds alone.
We think that it's just as simple as digging a hole and dropping the plant. But really, when you make that kind of investment, you do want it to work for you. You, of course, want it to be beautiful.
Of course.
Want it to be beautiful, but you want it to be durable, and you want it to grow for years and years to come. If you had to share with our viewers, Dr. Rashash, about the importance of energy conservation and the simple things we can do long term, share that with us.
Electricity is not becoming less expensive. So, rates will go up over time. We've done what we can within our homes. Hopefully people have added extra insulation. Insulation isn't just for winter cold, it also helps keep the heat from coming in. Trying to shade windows, planting things on various sides of the buildings, protecting that poor heat pump so that it's not out there. And even outside amenities, if you're thinking of where you want to put a deck or a porch, so you want it to be a livable outside amenity, which means not frying when you go out there and trying to figure out what kind of shade you're going to use. The last thing is to look up.
Okay.
A lot of times you have to remember about those power lines in
Yes.
subdivisions where you do have them above ground, and think of what that mature size of that tree is going to be. And that's one of the things that the master gardeners are helping walk the homeowners through. Is it a fast growing, is it a slow growing? What is the mature size of that tree? So they don't start out thinking, okay, it's just a little 8-foot tree, it's not going to do a whole lot. But there's a big difference if that mature height is going to be 25 feet or 65 feet.
There you go. Absolutely. Now, Rebecca, I know that we've spoken so much about master gardeners. I know you have your summer classes coming up starting
June the 8th.
Okay, and that will run. We talk with Lisa Rayburn and get folks registered for those classes. We love that. I would love to ask you, just as we close, what being a master gardener means to you.
Oh, plants are my passion. They always have been. I spent 30 years teaching. Environmental education is the future. If we don't take care of what we have, we're not going to have anything. Being able to talk to other people, educate people in our community about the right way to do it, so that 30 years from now, their grandchildren are enjoying what they did today, is just really important to me.
I can't think of a finer note to end on. Rebecca Ingram, Dr. Diana Rashash, thank you for practical advice, and thank you for sharing your passion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back, and joining us now is Karen Moore from Onslow County Public Library. Karen, it's so glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
Now, Karen, always when you come, just a plethora of materials. You are the busiest folks, and you provide something for everyone at the Onslow County Public Library. So this summer is no exception. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, I think most people think of summer reading events at the library are for children, but they're not for children only. We actually have a pretty fun mix of events lined up for adults this summer.
Like, what have you got going on?
Well, we're continuing our Do-It-Yourself Saturday events, and in late June, we'll have a DIY pet care event. We'll have Dr. Stacy Fuchs and Onslow County Animal Services coming out to answer all your questions on pet health and pet care.
Okay.
We will have special computer classes, intro to computer classes for folks who need a little more help. That will be going on at our Jacksonville location and our Swansboro location throughout the summer, June,
Right.
July, and early August.
Very good.
And lots of other sort of maybe surprising entertainment events as well.
You know, I think that this is such a great thing about our library system, is that it is a system. There is something in every corner of the county for every level of interest, from the Sneads Ferry Environmental Education Center to Richlands to Swansboro, and then obviously Main Branch in Jacksonville. So you try and have something in every corner. One thing I've always wanted to ask, Karen, is when you come up with this programming schedule, I know you have a programs team within the library system, but how about community input? How do you all develop these great itineraries?
Well, we definitely always appreciate and encourage feedback from our patrons. And so we do take a lot of cues from our patrons as to what they're interested in and what they'd like to do. So that's one of the reasons that we put together the Tech Thursday events, that we help people with their technology questions, and the intro to computer classes that we'll have throughout the summer. That's a tie-in to that, to just give a little extra help. And so we have so many fun things for the kids during the summer. We wanted to offer that to adults and their families as well. We even have a special silent movie event, an after-hours Friday movie. That will be in early August. And we're going to view one of Buster Keaton's masterpieces, The General.
Oh, wow.
So we think that'll be a lot of fun. Families can come out. That's something to sort of mix up your Friday nights, something kind of out of the ordinary. come out and have some free popcorn and enjoy a silent movie.
Well, you mentioned something about the popcorn, but really it applies to all of your programs. What are the fees to participate in these workshops and to come to these special DIYs and also your tech programs?
All of our programs, everything that we offer is always free, so there's never any charge. So something very affordable and fun for the whole family.
So you've got all these great programs. You also offer something for people who are volunteers or who work in the nonprofit world. And tell us a little bit about your grant-seeking workshops, because I know that you kicked this off several years ago, and they are a tremendous success.
Yes, it has been. It's been a really great resource for the community. We're really, really pleased that we can offer something like this. We offer workshops throughout the year for nonprofits. We are a funding information network through the Foundation Center, which is based out of New York City. And in late August, we will actually have another workshop for nonprofits. And we're going to sort of explore the resources that are available through Foundation Center, specifically grantspace.org.
Okay.
And that will sort of help nonprofits better organize their nonprofit organizations, maybe strengthen them in different skill sets that they need. So that's something that we encourage nonprofits to give us a call about, and we'll tell you what we can offer.
So you've got entertaining opportunities, continuing ed opportunities, resource opportunities, just plain old fun, and of course, you know, your variety of ebooks and your online magazine service, and
Right.
just those of us who like to hold a book.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about what your patrons are looking for in the future. What is kind of going on in terms of what are you hearing is trending?
Well, I'd say for our Onslow County users, it's really sort of an equal mix. We have probably an equal mix of people who prefer to read a physical copy of a book, to those that are really trending with the Kindles and the Nooks and their iPads. And a lot of people want to use both. It's the convenience. They love using those digital resources as ebooks when they're traveling, especially during the summer. That can be important. So they're using a mix. Audiobooks, printed books, and the digital books are all still being used pretty heavily.
You know, the library is our avenue, our conduit to what's going on in the world, and provides that continuing education resource. The last thing we want to talk about then is, again, kind of this idea that we talk about the whole family as user, and that is your part 2 of your homeschool fair that you have every year. And typically this has been a spring event, but you're stretching it out.
We are. There has been such a tremendous response for our homeschool fairs. This marks our 7th annual homeschool fair. We just had a homeschool fair at our Jacksonville location. And like I said, brings out a huge number of adults and their children. Some people who have been homeschooling for years, others who are just exploring the avenue of homeschooling. So we try to bring in all the resources, all the vendors in one place, so people can come in, ask the questions that they need to ask, and get the information that they need to start on that homeschool journey. So we will extend the homeschool fair later on this summer at our Swansboro branch.
Oh, very
good. So all of our folks interested in that on the other side of the county can take advantage of some of those resources.
So again, reaching out to different parts of the county, reaching out to people's different interests. I know also in Sneads Ferry you're having something this summer, and you're having a book talk. Tell us a little bit about that.
We are actually We're actually going to do something fun throughout the summer. We're going to wrap some of our books, our recommended travel and adventure books, to tie into our summer reading theme. We're going to wrap them and we're going to mask those books. So you come in, grab an item, check it out, unmask it, read it, and then near the end of the summer, both at Jacksonville and Sneads Ferry, we'll have a morning book talk, and we can all sit down, enjoy some coffee, and talk about what we read, why we liked it or why we didn't. Just a good way to share what you've read throughout the summer.
But a surprise read, so you don't know in advance.
It is a surprise read. It's a travel or adventure book.
Okay.
But it is a surprise read.
So we know the theme, but we don't know the book itself. Go get your book, read it, unwrap it, like,
Right.
surprise present,
Right.
and then come back and participate in the conversation. I love the innovation. I love all of your fun ways, and that, again, you're remembering every one of your users. Karen, let's always, as we wrap things up, kind of direct people to the locations of your libraries one more time, and then also let's give folks your website.
Okay. Well, our main location is in Jacksonville on Doris Avenue, but we also have locations in Swansboro, Sneads Ferry, and Richlands.
Okay.
And you can find us online and find out more information about all of these events at onslowcountync.gov/library.
Well, it is always a pleasure talking with you. We're going to all enjoy our summer, and we look forward to talking with you again in the fall.
Okay. Thanks.
As always, we want to thank you for joining us for Onslow County Today, here at our new venue. Of course, we want to say thank you to our special guest, Chris White with the Onslow County Albert J. Ellis Airport, Lisa Ryder with Earthen Surf Festival, of course, Dr. Diana Rashash and Rebecca Ingram from Cooperative Extension, and Karen Moore from the Onslow County Public Library. It is summertime here in Onslow County, and we invite you to get out and explore your Onslow County today.